Okay, we are going to continue with finding the tangent of some of these angles. So let's just quickly go back and look at what we have already done. We found the tangent of 60 degrees, and then we found, which was radical 3. We found the tangent of 30 degrees, and that wound up being radical 3 over 3. Finally, we found the tangent of 120, and that wound up being negative radical 3. We're going to do 2 more and see if there's something that we notice. So let's take a look here. We have the tangent of 5 pi over 6. And once again, we are going to go to our unit circle. And 5 pi over 6 is the same as 150 degrees. And let's take a look at our coordinates. We have negative radical 3 over 2 and positive 1/2. So let's write down those coordinates. Negative radical 3 over 2, positive 1/2. We already know negative radical 3 over 2 represents cosine. 1/2 represents sine. So tangent of 5 pi over 6 is going to be the same as the tangent of 150 degrees, and we also know tangent is sine over cosine. So let's go ahead and plug in. For the sine, 1/2 divided by the cosine, negative radical 3 over 2. And we've already gone through this. Dividing by a fraction, same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So 1/2 times negative 2 over root 3. The 2's, those divide out to become 1. And I'm left with negative 1 over radical 3. We know to multiply by radical 3 over radical 3, and we're left with negative root 3 over 3. So let's do the tangent of 4 pi over 3, and once again we'll go to our unit circle. So 4 pi over 3 is located right here, and that's 240 degrees. So we know the tangent of 4 pi over 3 is the same as the tangent of 240 degrees, and that's going to be the sine of 240 over the cosine of 240. The coordinates at 240 degrees were negative 1/2 and negative root 3 over 2. We know negative 1/2 represents cosine, and we know negative radical 3 over 2 represents sine. So let's go ahead and divide. So we're going to put negative root 3 over 2 divided by negative 1/2, and we'll multiply by the reciprocal. So negative radical 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 1. We know that a negative times a negative becomes a positive. I can cross that out. These 2's, that becomes 1, and I'm left with radical 3. Now, let's take a look about the pattern thing that I was talking about. We've pretty much only gotten 2 numerical answers, either radical 3 or radical 3 over 3. So let's see when we got radical 3 over 3. Let's go back. And we're going to take a look here. We got radical 3 over 3 for the tangent of 30 degrees. And then we also got radical 3 over 3 for the tangent of 150 degrees. Now, the other answer we got was radical 3. Now, the negatives and the positives, I'm not going to worry about those just yet. But we also got radical 3. We got radical 3 for the tangent of 240. We also got radical 3 for the tangent of 60, and we got radical 3, actually a negative radical 3 for the tangent of 120. If you notice, all 3 of those angles, 1/2, came first. So if 1/2 is the x coordinate, just like here, and for the last one that we did, if 1/2 is the x-coordinate, then that means our answer is going to be radical 3. If radical 3 over 2 is the x-coordinate, then our answer is going to be radical 3 over 3. So let's look at these and see what we get. Tangent of 7 pi over 6, unit circle of course. So 7 pi over 6, 210 degrees, and negative radical 3 over 2, comma negative 1/2. Let's write that here. Negative radical 3 over 2, comma negative 1/2. We know we're going to divide negative 1/2 by negative radical 3 over 2, but we just said if the first number is radical 3 over 2, I know that my answer is going to wind up being radical 3 over 3. And of course, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and I'm done. Don't really have to do any work at all. Let's look at 11 pi over 6. Let's go there. 11 pi over 6, coordinates, radical 3 over 2, negative 1/2. Let's write that down. So radical 3 over 2, comma negative 1/2. Like we just said, if radical 3 over 2 is the first number, is the x-coordinate, when I do my division and my rationalization, I'm going to come up with radical 3 over 3. Now this time it's going to be a negative divided by a positive, and my answer is a negative, and I'm done. Finally, let's look at tangent of 5 pi over 3. So unit circle, of course. 5 pi over 3, 300 degrees, our coordinates, positive 1/2, negative radical 3 over 2. And once again, we said, if the x-coordinate is 1/2, I'm going to wind up, when I do my division and multiply by the reciprocal, with radical 3. But it's a negative divided by a positive, so my answer is going to be a negative, and I'm done. Okay, this concludes the part 2 of finding tangent.